Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's video just going to be a wee update where Celtic are after two Champions League games, where we are in terms of our first goal, which is getting into the bracket of 9 to 24 in the group of 36. That would then get us a playoff match to get into the last 16 knockout phase. Obviously, there were a series of fixtures on Tuesday and a series of further fixtures on Wednesday, and so all teams have now played 2 games out of 8 in the current Champions League format. Also going to have my own ratings for the game against Borussia Dortmund a couple of nights ago, plus a wee update on a couple of injuries, and just starting to have a wee look ahead to the game against Ross County, 12 noon on Sunday. The game will be live on television. Before we do crack on with the actual video, please, if you are new to the channel, not yet subscribed, please do click that subscriber button. Keep the number pushing up to 1,050. A few subscribers every day makes me so happy. Also, if you do like the video, please do click that like button and comment section open for your own thoughts regarding the topics of the video. Do you think that the target of getting into that playoff phase for the last 16 phase, do you think that's still on the card for Celtic? And also your thoughts on any other Celtic issues of the moment. So I thought it would be interesting just to have a look at where Celtic's last 6 opponents currently are in the big league of 36. And for me, it does show that several of the teams that we are yet to play are teams that are going to be battling for the lower placings in that top 24, which would then get them into the playoff phase. For the knockout phase, there are 4 games out of the last 6 where we are playing a team who are currently below us in the group of 36. Our next match is against Atalanta. Atalanta currently lying 11th in the table with 4 points, 1 win and 1 draw. That game's on the 23rd of October. Then we're playing against Red Bull Leipzig. That's going to be a home game on the 5th of November. Currently, Red Bull Leipzig are beneath us in 29th with no points so far, so they've lost both their games so far. Then we'll have another home game against Bruges on the 27th of November. Bruges are 21st. We are 20th. So Bruges have 1 win and 1 loss, much the same as we have. Their goal difference is the same as ours, but we've scored more goals. And so the 5 goals against Slovan Bratislava and the 1 goal against Borussia Dortmund are currently putting us 1 place above Bruges. I think looking at the stats, Bruges are about the same level as us. We will be playing them at home, and so that obviously does give us quite a potential advantage over Bruges in what could be a very vital game, because if we beat them, we'll be a good 3 points distance from Bruges in that battle for the lower positions in the top 24. Then we've got an away game on the 10th of December against Dinamo Zagreb. Dinamo Zagreb are currently in 28th, so they're 8 positions below us. They've got 1 point. They lost their first game to Bayern Munich. They got absolutely thumped by Bayern Munich, even worse than we did, and then they drew their home game last night. And so they're on 1 point beneath us, and then our last home game is on the 22nd of January next year against Young Boys Bern. They're currently lying 36th and last. They've lost both their games by sizable scores, and so facing them also at home does give us a potential good advantage in reaching the targeted level. Then we're playing Aston Villa in our last game, the 29th of January. They're currently lying in 6th with 6 points. They had a surprise 1-0 win last night against Bayern Munich. And so they're currently probably the surprise team in that top 8 bracket. I suspect Aston Villa, over the course of the full 8 games, will drop down. I think Aston Villa are going to be very safely into the 9 to 24 bracket, probably in the top half of that by the time that we play them on the 29th of January. And so I think that does show that Zagreb, Young Boys Bern, they have all had much worse starts to the campaign than us. Red Bull Leipzig have had a surprising 2 defeats out of 2, and so they may well be a team that is still struggling to get themselves a footing in the league by the time they come to play us on Bonfer Night in match day 4. So I'm full of hope for the games still to come. The Opta stats people are saying that they reckon 10 points should get you into that top 24, and 11 points will get you into that top 24. We've already got 3 points. And so if we did beat Bruges and Young Boys Bern at home, that puts us up to 9, a draw against RB Leipzig and a draw against Dinamo Zagreb. And according to the stats boffins, that would essentially guarantee us a place in the lower reaches of that top 24. So plenty of hope still to come. Just thought it would be fun also just to do my own ratings of the players from the game against Borussia Dortmund. I've also had a look at lots of other different rating sites. One or two players are consistently at the very, very bottom. A couple of sites had slightly unexpected players at the top, and one rating site was particularly unfair because it gave Kasper Schmeichel a rating of 1 out of 10, and I don't think Kasper Schmeichel deserved anything like 1 out of 10, given the fact that although he did let 7 goals in, he did make 6 very good saves and was under constant pressure because we played so poorly in defence and midfield. So my own ratings for the players, we'll just run through those. 6.5 for Kasper Schmeichel. As I said, I think he did do a pretty good job. I don't think we could really fault him for any of the goals. He didn't really make any mistakes as such. I think he was a wee bit unfortunate to give away a penalty. I don't think actually any of the 7 goals that he let in were savable, and he did make a number of very good saves to keep the score down. I've given 5s for Alistair Johnston and Austin Trusty. I think they did an adequate job. They're getting the ball out of defence wasn't as good as it should have been. I've given 4s for Liam Scales and Greg Taylor. I thought they both looked very shaky, both out their depth, and they both got found out against players of high skill, high speed, and high intensity. And I think they were probably Celtic's 2 poorest players on the night. Given 5 for Arnie Engels. Don't think he really did anything of great note other than setting up that first goal with a lovely ball for Dyson Maida. 5.5 for Callum McGregor. Again, his passing was poor, his defending was poor, his leadership was poor. He did get a wee bit more traction in midfield than the others. So I've given him 5.5. Given him 4 for Paulo Bernardo. I thought he had a very poor game. Made mistakes, poor passes, didn't really get himself involved, wasn't much used defensively. 4 for him. 4.5 for both Nicholas Kuhn and Kyogo. They didn't really make any, for me, good contributions on the night. Given Dyson Maida 6, scored a goal, much more busy than many of the other players on the pitch, and consistently Dyson Maida was one of the 2 or 3 players who got higher marks from a variety of different rating sites. Coming to the subs, given Alex Valley 5 out of 10. I thought he was better than Greg Taylor, although that's not saying very much, but not too bad for a young 20-year-old making his European debut. and I think he did certainly look stronger and better than Taylor at left back. Rio Tati, I've given 6 out of 10. I think he probably had the best game of all the midfielders. He came on for the second half. He looked a bit more involved, a bit more busy, and given him 6. He also consistently was at the top ends of the rating scales for a variety of sites. Given 4.5 for both Adam Ida and Yang. Again, much the same as Kuhn and Kyogo, didn't really do very much positive. Ida had a rather disappointing miss when it looked easier to score than miss. Ralston only had a few minutes at the end, replacing Alza Johnson, and so I haven't given him a rating. So, consistent looking at variety of rating sites, a lot of them have Rio Hitati and or Daisen Maida as our 2 best players, and my feeling myself was, having watched the game live and then via replays, that probably is the case. I think a lot of Celtics players had very disappointing matches, and I've actually put Kasper Schmeichel 6.5 out of 10, man of the match. Even though he did let 7 goals in, it could have been far worse had Schmeichel had a bad night. For the ratings is start them all at 6 out of 10, and if they do well, give them 6.5, 7, etc., etc. If they've done poorly, we bring them down to 5.5, 5, 4.5, 4, etc. So just a bit of guidance as to how I've made my ratings for Tuesday's game. So we have one more game to go before the international break. That's at 12 noon on Sunday, away at Ross County. Games live on television. Today, it was confirmed that Cameron Carter-Vickers won't be part of the American squad, although Austin Trusty has been called up to that squad. Alza Johnston has been not called up by Canada. He's been given a couple of weeks to get himself fully fit. It's said, according to the Canadian manager, that he's still having a bit of problems with the hamstring problem he had last time on international duty. And of course, he did also receive a week or so ago an injection for back problems. And so I expect both Carter-Vickers and Alza Johnson will be left out the squad for the game against Ross County and given a good period of recovery. Our game against Ross County is on the 6th of October. The next game after that is a game against Aberdeen, 3 o'clock kickoff on the 19th of October, so 2 Saturdays later. And I'm very hopeful that those 2 weeks of rest for Carter-Vickers will get him back in the team, in the squad, fully fit for the game against Aberdeen, which could be vital. And then the following midweek, the game against Atalanta, where Celtic should be, I think, aiming for a point, although a defeat would not be unexpected. And as I said in that earlier part of the video, that there's still plenty of time for us to get the points to get us to that 10 or 11 level that's thought to be the necessary level to get into the playoffs for the knockout last 16s. Other wee bit of news is the Celtic under-19 team played the Borussia Dortmund under-19 before the main Champions League fixture. The young team lost 4-0 to Borussia Dortmund, and interestingly, they are lying in a similar position to the main team in the top 36 of the under-19s. It was good to see quite a number of Celtic's young, promising, up-and-coming players getting some game time at the highest level against Dortmund's best players. So that finishes things off for today's video. Tomorrow we'll be doing a bit of a preview of the upcoming game against Ross County. Looking at Celtic's likely lineup and score prediction, etc. for the game on Sunday. And then we'll be into the international break. Over that time, I'm planning 1 or 2 wee channel polls and 1 or 2 other wee ideas of different sorts of videos we can try out over the international break, when Celtic news will tend to be that bit less. If you are new to the channel, not yet subscribed, please do click that subscribe button. If you like the video, do click that like button and do pop your comments into the comment section. And so until tomorrow's video, a goodbye and hail, hail.